Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Early voting doesn't necessarily mean shorter lines. Good evening, I'm Michaela Marshall.
And I'm Justin Holbrook. Thanks for joining us. Voters across the nation and right here in Athens County hit the polls today. Early voting gives folks a chance to still cast their ballot even if they're not available on election day. It's also supposed to help curb long waiting time on the day of the election. But those lines have seemed to carry over on early voting days, with some people waiting for more than an hour to cast their ballots. We talked to a few voters about the importance of voting and why early voting is so beneficial.
I think early voting is convenient in the first place just because you can cut down on some of the waiting time that you would have if you voted on voting day.
Because it's so much easier than voting on election day. I personally had a lot of trouble voting in the primaries. I did get it done, but I was running all around trying to get verification of my address and everything. When you early vote, like all you need is the last four of your social.
People were campaigning for Sarah Grace, and Jay Edwards and a team member were there passing out flyers and talking just before the no campaigning beyond this point line. Be sure to join us tomorrow on our social media accounts with the election updates throughout the evening.
Attention Ohio University students, your professors cannot offer extra credit if you vote. Director of the Athens County Elections Board, Debbie Quivy, says encouraging or discouraging voting by offering money or other valuable things technically violates Ohio law. Neither the university or Board of Elections plan to take action with the two professors in question because it was well-intentioned. Athens City Council meets tonight and will make a decision on an ordinance slated to increase public dollars spent on the Depot Street Lift Station project. The project will cost a total of $1.14 million. It includes a series of renovations such as a roof replacement, installing a mechanical screen, and odor control equipment. Construction began over the summer. Also on the agenda, Council will be making plans to move forward with the Waterline replacement project.
7 rapes have recently been reported to the Athens and Ohio University police departments. The one rape reported on the OU campus reportedly occurred in the early morning hours of Tuesday, November 1st, with an 18-year-old female reporting unwanted sexual conduct by a male known to her. The alleged perpetrator is described as a heavier-set, white, college-age male, 5'10" to 6 feet in height, with blonde hair and facial hair on his chin. Ohio University's Board of Trustees is alarmed about the university's performance on some college ranking metrics. The concern comes as a result of the university's decline in the U.S. News and World Report's rankings of American universities. Data provided by Richard Vetter, a distinguished professor of economics emeritus at OU, shows that the university has dropped 48 spots since being ranked 98th in 2005. The rankings account for 220 universities across the U.S.
Welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Jenny Garecki. Currently in Athens, it is 65 degrees, but we have experienced for the past couple days highs near 70, which is well above average for this time of year. And when we look at temps for the region, we see the exact same thing as we do currently here in Athens, with highs or current temps in the mid to upper 60s, with 65 here in Athens as well as Ironton and Cambridge, with the highest being in Columbus and New Martinsville at 67, with the coolest being here in Chillicothe. As we look further going through the night, we will see temps at 8 p.m. be about 55 degrees under clear skies. And as we go through the night, we will see some clouds increase as 4 a.m. comes around, with the low dipping down to about 42, 44 degrees. So if you're going out, grab a jacket because it will be cooler as the night goes on.
Along with voting for the President of the United States tomorrow, voters in the Alexander Local School District are being asked to pass an operating levy. WOUB's Megan Vanslow has the story.
My family moved here when I was 5 years old. We've lived in the community for about 45 years.
Lindy Douglas is a longtime member of the Albany community and also serves as the superintendent of the Alexander School District. After 25 years of running on state funding, the district has proposed a 1.5% income tax levy on the November 2016 ballot. It does not affect anyone on a fixed income such as Social Security, disability, retirement, or pensions. It's applied only to those who live in the district and work, no matter the location of their job. Communities that will vote on this include Shade, New Marshfield, Columbia Township, and the Albany area. Fred Davis is president of the school board and says the levy is not for more spending.
Basically, this is an operating levy which pays for the normal operation of the schools, whether it's personnel, buses, anything that runs the day-to-day operations of the district.
The reason Alexander needs the money is because costs go up, but state funding has been flat. While the district hasn't laid out a plan of specific cuts if the income tax doesn't pass, Davis said buses, teachers, and staff would be top of the list.
We're actually getting less revenue from the state to operate than we were in 2008.
In a small village like Albany, this issue touches everyone in some way.
Even if you don't have children that go to Alexander, you know someone that does, or you know someone that works there. It's a very small and tight-knit community.
There's a lot of pride there, and there's a lot of community pride.
Lydia Douglas is the daughter of Superintendent Lindy Douglas, but that's not why she supports the school district. She graduated from Alexander in 2010 and came back to the district to start her own family and work at All About You Hair Salon. Both mom and daughter live in the community and have talked to friends and coworkers about the levy.
I've been out in the community talking to people and talking to local business owners, a lot of community members. I hear a lot of positive.
Personally, I think it's a good thing, and a lot of people that I've heard from have also feel the same. I don't have any children that go to the school, but in the future I will.
When we visited some gathering places in Albany, most people we talked to were in favor of the income tax, and we did find numerous yard signs supporting the levy. The school board has held several public forums to discuss it and answer questions, but they've been poorly attended.
My daughter and her husband and my son and his wife are owners of Libby's Pumpkin Patch, and it's on a farm that's been in the family since 1879. Well, I think that's an improvement over putting it on property tax. When they put it on property taxes, it's a burden to farmers and to property owners here, and I don't think it gets spread out over all the people that would be using the educational system.
However, there is some confusion about where the money will go. A citizen at the school board meeting told us that some people are worried that if the income tax passes, their money will go towards the new wellness center at the Alexander Mega School.
The new wellness center we're building, and that's a completely different situation than the levy as far as our operating costs. Yes, we've fronted some money to get the project started, but it'll be finished through our Boosters Club and through donations.
Well, I want to study how they spent their money a little bit, and some of the things I've seen them do I haven't quite approved of. I am not sure that I'm going to vote for the levy yet, but in all likelihood I will.
The school board expects the levy to pass, but they say that it's not just about the buses, it's the children who are on them.
I would not argue with anyone that feels they're being taxed enough already, but I would also say of all the taxes you pay, I would rather pay my taxes locally, benefiting our kids and our community.
I think Alexander definitely gave me a good education and prepared me for the real world, and they did all they could to push us in the right direction and have us prepared for leaving this little community.
For WOUB, I'm Megan Vanslow.
And remember to follow our social media accounts and website, woub.org, for election updates. We'll be Facebook Live and tweeting throughout the evening.
Ohio's addiction agency issued an awareness alert after the recall of a device used to deliver the drug overdose antidote Narcan. The Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services said Friday the recall by Gurney, an Illinois-based Teleflex medical company, does not involve the drug itself, which is used to revive overdose victims. Instead, the issue is the faulty nasal atomizer that shoots a stream of the drug into patients' nose rather than producing a mist, which could make the drug less effective.
Republican Secretary of State John Husted is stressing security to bolster voter confidence going into Election Day. Husted says the state has improved its voter registration data and strengthened its laws, processes, and technology. He says the state's election system is, quote, as secure as it's ever been. Husted's claims combat Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump's claims that the election is rigged against him. Husted says voter intimidation will not be tolerated at the polls.
A motion by Donald Trump's presidential campaign to block a lower court restraining order from Ohio Democrats was granted. The 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled yesterday that the Ohio Democratic Party has not demonstrated a likelihood of success on the merits of its case. The ODP filed a lawsuit last week saying a court order is needed to protect Ohioans' rights to vote free from harassment, coercion, and intimidation. A U.S. District Court judge in Cleveland ruled on Friday that anyone who engages in intimidation or harassment inside or near polling places would face charges. And with Election Day hours away, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump covered a lot of ground in swing states today.
Plus, how the Department of Justice is enforcing voting rights laws tomorrow. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
CNN's latest look at a national poll shows an early edge for Hillary Clinton a day before the election. According to the latest CNN poll of polls, Clinton holds a 3-point lead over Donald Trump. In a 4-candidate race, an average of 45% of likely voters supported the Democratic nominee, while 42% supported the Republican candidate. The CNN poll of polls looked at 6 national polls, including a new report from CBS News and the updated ABC News Washington Post tracking poll. All of the polls were taken between November 1st and 6th.
Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are on their last campaign push through battleground states on the last day of the 2016 election season. The most recent CNN poll of polls has Clinton with a 4-point lead, but the race is tight and will depend on voter turnout. Steve Nanas has a look at the last day on the campaign trail.
On the final day of campaigning, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump hitting the trail at breakneck speed and focused on key battlegrounds.
In Pennsylvania, it's all about Election Day.
Clinton campaigning today in the crucial toss-up of North Carolina, also going to Michigan and Pennsylvania, where Clinton's lead has narrowed in recent weeks. President Obama, one of Clinton's biggest assets on the trail, appearing in Michigan and North Carolina before joining Hillary Clinton, former President Bill Clinton, and the First Lady for a Philadelphia rally.
This is the last day of our campaign. Who would have believed this?
Trump hitting 5 states today. He'll be in Pennsylvania and Michigan, also Florida, North Carolina, and New Hampshire. Sunday night's bombshell from FBI Director James Comey, saying in a letter to Congress that they've completed their review of the newly discovered emails and found nothing to change their conclusions from July, that Hillary Clinton should not face criminal charges, has both campaigns reacting to the last-minute news.
We're glad to get that news, but not surprised.
Hillary Clinton should not even be allowed to run for the presidency of the United States. With what's happening with our justice, our country is a laughingstock.
With that news coming just a day and a half before polls open Tuesday, it's unclear how it will play in voters' minds. In Washington, I'm Steve Nannis.
And remember to check WOUB.org for the latest results and updates tomorrow on election night. We'll be Facebook Live and tweeting throughout the evening.
Federal election monitors are being sent to 28 states to help enforce voting rights laws tomorrow. The Justice Department says more than 500 monitors will be on the ground in nearly 70 jurisdictions across the country. However, there is no longer any federal power to mandate observers inside polling stations. Justice Civil Rights Division staffers will handle any voting rights complaints by phone. Local officials have a first responsibility to respond to any issues of violence or intimidation at polling places.
Former U.S. Attorney General Janet Reno died this morning, according to her family. Reno reportedly passed away at her home in Miami after a 20-year battle with Parkinson's disease. Reno was the nation's first ever female attorney general. She served under President Bill Clinton from 1993 to 2001. Reno was 78.
On Wall Street today, stocks ended up significantly higher after snapping out of a historic 9-day losing streak. Here's a look at stocks of local interest.
Tonight, it will be clear, but when will our next chance of rain be? Plus, will this rain bring a cool down to the area? That, plus your extended forecast next on Newswatch.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Jenny Garecki. Currently, we see temps around 65 degrees under fair conditions, with winds coming out of the southeast at about 2 miles an hour, with the humidity about 54%, which is very, very nice conditions out right now. As we look overnight, we see that temps will dip into the mid-50s, as well as going down to the low 40s as we go through the night. Sorry, technical difficulties. Right now, we see around the region that the current temperatures are around the mid-60s, with 65 here in Athens, as well as 65 here in Ironton, with the highs being around New Martinsville and Columbus. We can see that we were well above average today at 71 degrees compared to 59, but who's really complaining? The nice weather is very nice for November. We were below average a little bit, with normal being around 38, with a low this morning of 33 degrees. As we go through the night, we will see temps dip down into the mid to low 40s, with clouds increasing as we go through due to a particular warm front or cold front that will move through the area. Tonight, low 42 with clear skies with a few clouds late. Winds will be south at 0 to 5 miles an hour. Tonight, for overnight around the region, we will see lows in the low 40s, with the coolest being up in Cambridge at 40 degrees under clear skies. As we look forward toward tomorrow morning, we see that we will have a starting morning temp at about 42 degrees under sunny skies. Even though that is a little cool for now, it will feel good. We will see a cold front will move through tomorrow afternoon that will bring cooler temps and much needed rain. But before the warm fronts, we will hit a high around 66 degrees as clouds increase through the afternoon. As we go through the week, we will see the cold front, which will come through Tuesday night into Wednesday, but which will bring a lot more cooler temps, which will be around average for this time of year, with the weekend being beautiful in the mid-50s with sunny conditions. Over to you, Kellyanne.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kellyanne Stitz. There was a lot of action that happened this past weekend, including the men's basketball team taking on Rio Grande in their exhibition game. Find out how the Bobcats did after the break. And the Ohio wrestling team opened their season this weekend on the road at the Mountaineer Quad. More on their match next on Newswatch. Stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Kellyanne Stitz. The Ohio wrestling team opened the season this weekend on the road, sweeping their 4 matches at the Mountaineer Quad. The Bobcats beat West Virginia by a team score of 25-11. Shakur Laney swept both of his matches, defeating Pittsburgh's Lorenzo Bentley by decision 4-3 and West Virginia's Devin Brown by major decision 13-5. Ohio returns to action at the Bearcat Open Tournament November 13th. Basketball is back in action and kicked off this weekend at the Convocation Center. The men's basketball team had their exhibition game Saturday against Rio Grande and stole Red Storm's thunder, beating them 87-56. Tony Campbell helped put points on the board, but exited the second half early with 17 points and 12 rebounds for a double-double. But freshman Jason Carter made his Bobcat debut, playing majority of the second half, showing out, scoring 9 points, and getting the nickname as a younger version of Campbell. The team will take the court next November 12th against Southern University. Tip-off is set for 2 at the Convo. The Convo was the place to be Saturday, as the women's basketball team also made their season debut with an exhibition game against Thomas More, beating the Saints 87-50. The win was a team effort, with 5 Bobcats having double figures in points and knocked down 10 three-pointers. Jasmine Witherspoon, led the team with a whopping 21 points. Ohio also capitalized on the Saints' turnovers, scoring 28 points off of turnovers. The team will open up the regular season November 13th against High Point. Tip-off is set for 2 p.m. The achievements for the wrestling team don't stop there. Arsen Nishugan was honored with the Scholar Athlete of the Week. Arsen shows out in the classroom and on the mat. He went 3-for-0 for the Bobcats in their season opener yesterday. Our other Scholar Athlete of the Week is Corinne Van Lennon from the women's swimming and diving team. Corinne earned 3 first-place finishes for the team this past Saturday in a 192-108 loss against rival Miami. We have some more action from this past weekend. The Ohio volleyball team nailed Bowling Green 3-2 on Saturday. Ohio led the match in total team blocks and service aces. Mallory Salas led the team with 18 kills and logged 13 digs for another double-double. And Jamie Kosaric had a career-high 8 assisted blocks for Ohio. Up next, the Bobcats will hit the road to face Kent State Thursday. The match is set to start at 7. Kicking off with some Sunday night football action, the Oakland Raiders proved they are ready to contend in the AFC after overpowering the Denver Broncos last night, beating the defending Super Bowl champion 30-20. The Raiders didn't disappoint in the primetime spot last night. Quarterback Derek Carr threw for 184 yards, and Latavius Murray ran for 114 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Raiders will be tested next against the Houston Texans. And football doesn't stop there. Monday Night Football showcases the Seahawks and the Bills tonight at 8:30. The Seahawks have been struggling on offense this season, just scoring 1 offensive touchdown in their last 9 quarters. Part of the offensive issue goes back to Russell Wilson, who hasn't accounted for a single touchdown over the past 3 games, while the Bills are bringing Percy Harvin out of retirement and could see an assist to Buffalo's passing game while Sammy Watkins is out. I'm Kellyanne Stitz, and that's all we have for sports. Back to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Kellyanne. Tonight we will have a low dipping down into the low 40s with a 42 as our low. Mostly clear, clouds will start to fill in as a cold front starts to move through the area. But as we go into tomorrow, we will see a high of 66, mostly sunny in the morning, but the clouds will increase as the time comes closer to the front moving in, with winds out of the south at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And a look ahead for the week, we see one last day of very nice, warm, wonderful temperatures at a high of 66 degrees tomorrow. But as we move through the week and we see the temperatures decrease thanks to the warm front, we will be close to average with wonderful temperatures. Over to you, Justin.
Thanks, Jenny. Hopefully it stays warm enough for the people going out to vote in line tomorrow. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Justin Holbrook.
And I'm Michaela Marshall. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities. And of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.